Hi, I'm Nikki from Find Me Crafting. I want to keep rolling through the year with these monthly marshmallow mug hat patterns. This is July. I've got the cute patriotic stars and stripe with a beard or without Uncle Sam hat, or just all the summer vibes with the cute little watermelon hat. I've got a step-by-step tutorial for this one. I will walk you through the entire hat. And this one, I've got some tips and tricks to help you do it and do it easily. Come on, I'll show you how. And if you haven't already, don't forget to hit the subscribe button and the notification bell so that you don't miss any patterns or projects. The free written pattern for both of these is available on my website, and I will put the link in the description box down below. I'm going to walk you through a step-by-step tutorial of how to make this adorable July marshmallow mug hat. I'm going to be working with 4 different colors of Hobby Lobby I Love This yarn. I'm going to be starting with the royal, then I'm going to switch to the white, and then I'm also going to use fire red. I'm going to make the beard gray today just for fun, and this is Gray Mist. I'm going to be working with an F 3.75 millimeter hook. You're going to need a pair of scissors and a darning / yarn hook. And if you want to glue on the stars, this is what I use. These are called Favorite Findings, and I just used the white buttons from in here. I got this from Walmart. Amazon does sell the exact same style of button. So with the royal yarn, I'm going to make a magic circle, magic ring. I'm going to wrap it around my fingers like this. I've made an X. I'm going to curl my fingers out of the way. I'm going to insert my hook back here and grab that working yarn and pull up a loop. I'm going to carefully take my fingers out and grab my working yarn. I'm just going to do 1 chain. So now my circle is ready to work in. All of my stitches in this first row in my magic circle have to be done over these 2 strands of yarn, the circle itself and this little tail here. I'm going to start with 10 half double crochets in this circle. So to do a half double crochet, I'm just going to yarn over. I'm going to go into the middle of my loop here. I'm going to grab up a loop. There are now 3 loops on my hook. I'm going to yarn over and pull through. That's 1 half double crochet. Now I'm going to do a second one. I'm going to yarn over. I'm going to go in my circle here, pull up a loop. There's 3 loops on. Yarn over, pull through. That's 2. So like I said, I just need 10 of those in this circle. So I now have 10 half double crochets in my magic circle. I'm gonna just pull this loop up here so that I don't pull my stitch out. And then that tail that you left from the beginning, we're just going to pull on that and it closes the circle. And if you pull it tighter, then you have no hole in the top of your hat. You just pull it tight. It'll be a little easier once I finish this, and then I can close it really. So I'm going to slip stitch to the first stitch in my row, not my chain, but my first stitch. I'm going to go under both loops. I'm going to yarn over and pull under those loops and under the loop on my hook. To get ready for the next row, I'm going to chain 1, and then I am going to tighten up my circle a little bit more. See, totally closed. Gotta love the magic circle. Now on row 2, this is opening up here a little bit in the middle. In the end, I'm going to weave in this end here. It's going to tighten it up, and then this won't open ever again. So in case that happens to you, don't worry. We will be able to close it very easily at the end. I'm going to do 2 half double crochets in each stitch. So 2 in this one, 2 in this one, all the way around. So I'll show you what that looks like. I'm going to yarn over. I'm going to go under both the loops right here. I'm going to yarn over and pull up a loop. There are now 3 loops on my hook. I'm going to yarn over and pull through. So that's 1, and I'm going to do my next one in the same stitch as that one. So I'm going to yarn over, go back under those same set of loops, pull up a loop, 3 loops on, yarn over, pull through. So that's 2, and I'm going to do 2 in each stitch around for a total of 20 in this row. So I've got all 20 of my half double crochets done. I'm just going to slip stitch. Oh, my yarn's rolling all over. I'm going to slip stitch to the first stitch here. And I'm going to chain 1 in preparation for the next row. This next one, in row 3, I'm going to start with 2 half double crochets in that first stitch. So yarn over, go underneath the loops, pull up a loop. There's 3 loops on, yarn over, pull through. So that was 1 stitch there. I'm going to do another stitch in that same stitch. So yarn over, go into those same set of loops. I'm going to grab a loop. There's 3 loops on my hook, yarn over, pull through. So there's 2 here in this stitch. My next stitch, I'm just going to do 1. So yarn over, go underneath the loops, pull up a loop. There's 3 stitches on, yarn over, pull through. Now I'm going to go back to 2 in this next stitch, 2 half double crochets in this same stitch. That. So there's 2 there, and now my next one just has 1 again. So it's 2 and 1 and 2 and 1 and 2 and 1. And I'm going to continue that pattern all the way around. I'm going to have a total of 30 stitches. I have all 30 of my half double crochets in this row. This is row 3. And I'm just going to slip stitch to the first stitch in my row. I'm going to chain 1 again and begin row 4. So row 4 starts with 2 stitches right here on this first one, and then I'm going to do a single and a single. So 2 single single, 2 single single, all the way around. So I'm going to yarn over, I'm going to go into these loops, pull up a loop, there's 3 on, yarn over, pull through. Now I'm doing another stitch in that same one, so yarn over, go into those same set of loops, pull up a loop, there's 3 on, yarn over, pull through. Now I'm just going to do a single one in this next one, a single half double crochet. So there's just 1. I'm going to move to the next stitch and do just 1 here. So now I'm going to go back and repeat doing 2 here and then 1 1, 2 1 1, 2 1 1. It's going to be a total of 40 stitches. So I have 40 stitches in my row 4. And if you need to count, you can see your rows here, 1 2 3 4. They're pretty easy to see with this pattern. So I'm going to slip stitch to the first stitch in that row. I'm going to chain 1. And now in this next row, I'm going to do 2 half double crochets in this first one and then do single, single, single. So 3 that are just 1 in each, and then a double, and then 1 1 1, double, 1 1 1. And I'm just going to do it all the way around, and it's going to bring us to 50 stitches. So I'm back around to where I started. I have 50 stitches in my 5th row. I am going to once again slip stitch to the first stitch of my row, pull it through, and I'm going to do 1 chain. Now on this next row, this part right here that we've worked on so far is the top of the hat. It's this circle right here. Now we want it to curve, kind of bend downward. So right here, we're going to do something slightly different just to make it come down. So all of the stitches in just this row are going to be in the back loop only. We're only going to be doing 1 stitch in each one of the stitches around. So there'll be 50 stitches total. And we're going to do half double crochets, but we're only going to do them in the back loop. So you can see right here, there are 2 loops. This is what we normally go under. We go under these 2 loops to work most of our typical stitches. For this particular stitch, we're just going to work in the back loop, the loop farthest away from you. So instead of going under both, you're going to come down through the middle of the stitch and just under this back loop. I'm going to yarn over. I'm going to go into the same stitch as my slip stitch right here under this back loop. I'm going to pull up a loop. There are 3 loops on. Yarn over and pull through. So let's do it again. Yarn over, go down just under that back loop, pull up a loop, 3 loops on, yarn over, pull through. And you just do that under the back loop all the way around for 50 stitches. So I'm back around to my start. I do have 1 stitch left to do in this row, and we are going to be switching to the white yarn to make the second stripe. So here's how we do that. I'm going to yarn over and go under that back loop just like I did for the rest of the row. I'm going to pull up a loop and pull it up. Now, if I was staying with the blue, I would yarn over, I'd pull through these 3 just like that. But I want to switch to my white, so let me get back to that point. I have the 3 loops on, and I'm going to finish this stitch with my white yarn. So I'm going to leave myself a bit of a tail here so that I can weave that in later. I'm just going to place that around my crochet hook. I'm going to pull it through the stitch just like that. And now I'm going to continue working, like I'm going to do a slip stitch right here. I'm going to continue working with the white. Chain 1. Now you can tighten up these stitches a little bit on the back, not too much, but a little bit, just so they look like the rest of them. And I'm going to continue working this next 3 rows in the white. So this is row 7 now, and I'm going to be doing just 1 half double crochet in each of my stitches using the white. So I'm going to yarn over, go under the loops, pull up a loop, 3 loops on, yarn over, pull through, just like that, just like we've been doing just now in white. And now because we're done with the blue, we can cut this. Leave yourself a tail so you can weave it in, but you can get this out of your way so you have less clutter while you're working. All right, I'm back around to the start. I'm going to slip stitch again, and I'm going to chain 1. On this next row, we're going to begin the process of narrowing the hat. So it's a little bit wider at the top, and I want it to narrow down here toward the brim. So we're going to do something called a decrease. So what we're going to do is start with 4 half double crochets, just single ones. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and then we're going to work a decrease. So I'll show you how to do that. We're going to yarn over, go into the loops, pull up a loop, 3 loops on, yarn over, pull through. Regular half double crochet. I'm going to do another one like that. There's 2, and here's 3, and here's 4. So I have 4 regular half double crochets. Now we're going to do something called an invisible decrease. You're going to yarn over and go under just this front loop here of the next stitch. You're going to kind of bend your hook around, go under just the front loop of the next stitch. So you end up with these 4 loops on your hook. You're going to yarn over and pull through just 2 of them. Now I have 3 loops still on, and I'm going to yarn over and pull through. That is a half double crochet invisible decrease. And now instead of having 2 stitches right here, you just have 1. You've decreased by 1 stitch in that spot. So let me show you again. We're going to do 4 regular half double crochets. Here's 2, here's 3, and here's 4. And now we're going to do the invisible decrease. So yarn over like you've been doing. You go underneath this front loop, kind of bend your hook around, go underneath the front loop of the one next to it. Yarn over, pull under just 2 loops. There's 3 loops on. You're going to finish it just like a regular half double crochet. Yarn over, pull through. So we've decreased by yet another stitch. I'll show you one more time. We're going to do 4, oops, I split my yarn. There we go. We're going to do, that's 1 regular single, 2, 3, and 4, and here is our invisible decrease. We're going to yarn over, go under just the front loop of the next stitch, bend it around, go underneath the front loop of the next stitch, yarn over, pull under 2, and now you're going to yarn over and pull through the remaining 3. So we're just taking out stitches, basically. We're combining stitches. So you're going to do this all the way around until you get back to the start. Let me see if I can find my start here. And then there's going to be 2 remaining half double crochets. You're just going to do 2 regular half double crochets. Instead of the pattern, you're going to just finish this row with 2 regular half double crochets. So like I said, I've come around, I have 40 stitches in already, and I have 2 remaining stitches here in this row. I'm just going to do 2 regular half double crochets for a total of 42 stitches in this row. I'm going to slip stitch to my first stitch and chain 1 as usual. Now we're on row 9, and we're going to do another row of decreases, make it even smaller. And this time we're going to do 3 singles and then a decrease. 3 singles, decrease. So I'll show you, I'm going to do a 1 regular half double, a 2nd regular half double crochet, and a 3rd regular half double crochet. Now we're going to decrease again. So yarn over, under the front loop of the next one, under the front loop of the one after that, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 3 more. So 1, 2, 3, decrease. 1, 2, 3, decrease. Once again, there will be 2 stitches over here that you're just going to finish with that are just regular half double crochets. There'll be a total of 34 stitches in this row. So I did 1 half double crochet here at the end of the row, and there's 1 more regular half double crochet that I have to do, but we are changing colors again. I'm going to be switching to the fire red. So I'm going to yarn over, go underneath the 2 loops, pull up a loop. Here's my 3 loops on. And instead of finishing with the white, I'm going to finish with the red. So we can switch colors again. Pull through. Now I'm just going to slip stitch with the red here to my first one. I'm going to chain 1. And then, like I said, I like to just tighten up the stitches on the back a little bit so that they look like the rest of the stitches that I've made. And I'm ready to cut off the white to get that out of the way. Let's get rid of that. Leave myself a tail. And now we're working with the red. So for row 10 here, we're just going to do 1 half double crochet in each of the stitches around. That'll be 34 stitches. Just a nice easy row of 1 in each. So I'm back to the beginning of the row, and as with every other row, I'm going to slip stitch and chain 1. Now for this next row, I want the hat to be even tighter still around this part right here, so it kind of hugs the mug when you're wearing it. Good luck wearing that. It's going to hug the mug right here a little bit tighter with this next row. We're just going to do a slip stitch in each of the stitches. So I'm just going to go under the loops. I'm going to pull the loop through and then pull it through the loop on my hook. So that's a slip stitch, and we're just going to do that in each stitch around to get back to the start. So that should be 34 slip stitches. So back to where I started, I'm going to do a slip stitch under the first slip stitch, chain 1, and now we are ready to work the brim of the hat. So here at the top, we wanted it to curve downwards, so we worked in the back loop only. Here, we want this part to come out. And so what we're going to work in is the front loop only for this next row. So we talked about, you can see because they're slip stitch, they're turned a little bit, these stitches. So normally we work under both stitches here, and these are going to be a little bit tighter. You want them to be tighter to hold the hat in place, but it is a little bit tighter to work in. So normally we work under both loops. We're going to just work in this front loop here, the one closest to you. And because I want this to be wider to make the brim, I'm going to do 2 half double crochets in each one around under the front loops. So I'm going to yarn over. I'm going to go under just this front loop right here. I'm going to pull up a loop. I have 3 loops on, yarn over, pull through. That's 1. And now in the same stitch under that front loop, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through. So I'm going to do that all the way around. So once again, I yarn over under just this front loop, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through, and another one in that same stitch. So you just do that all the way around. You'll end up with 68 half double crochets in this row. Okay, I'm back to where I started with 68 half double crochets in this row. I'm going to once again slip stitch to my first stitch, chain 1. There's only 1 row left for the hat portion itself. So this last row is just 1 half double crochet in each stitch around. That's going to be 68 of them, and that'll be row 13. So I'm back around, and just like with every row, I'm going to slip stitch to the first one, and now I don't have to chain. I'm just going to finish off. So I'm just going to pull this through that last loop, and you finished crocheting it. Now, I did want to say, for all of these tails on the inside, what I do is tie 2 of them together. Doesn't really matter what colors they are. I tighten it just enough that I know that the stitch on the other side looks like the rest. And I'm going to weave in these ends after I've all tied them together. This is the tail for the magic circle. This is my beginning tail. So I'm going to pull on my magic circle, close it up. And now to secure it, I'm going to go underneath the stitches of that circle all the way around, kind of pulling it tight. And this will secure it so it will never open again. So now if you wanted to add the beard onto this hat, let me show you what that looks like. I'm going to be working with gray mist because I want to give him a gray beard. I think that'd be kind of fun. I'm still using an F 3.75 millimeter hook. We're going to start by chaining 17. So I'm just going to cross this over, I'm gonna reach through and grab my working yarn and tighten it all up. That's my slip knot. It's kind of a big, wide slip knot. You do not need this much of a tail on the end. You really don't need much of a tail at all. I'm gonna tighten it up, and now I'm gonna chain 17. So just yarn over and pull through. That's 2, 3, 4, 5. So here's my 17 chains. And what I'm gonna do is do a puff stitch starting in the second chain from the hook. So here's where my hook was, obviously this big loop. Here's the first chain next to where my hook was. Here's the second chain. So that's the one I'm gonna do my first stitch in, and I'm gonna do a puff stitch. So let me show you how to do that. I'm gonna yarn over. I'm gonna go under that loop in the second chain. I'm gonna pull up a loop. So now there's 3 on. I'm gonna do that 3 more times. Yarn over, go into the same stitch, yarn over, pull it up. Now there's 5 loops on. Let's do it a 3rd time. Yarn over, go into the same stitch, yarn over, pull up a loop. Now there should be 7, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. One more time, yarn over, into the loop, keeping all your loops on, yarn over, pull up a loop. There should be 9 loops on your hook at this point. I'm gonna yarn over and pull through all 9. All the way through, I'm going to chain 1. That locks it in place. And there's your puff. The next stitch, I'm gonna do a slip stitch in. Just go underneath the loop, pull the loop through that and through the loop on my hook. And that's 1 puff. I wanna make 8 of these. So I'm gonna do the same process in the next stitch that I just did for my puff stitch. So yarn over, go underneath that loop, pull up a loop. There's 3 loops on my hook. I need to do that 3 more times. You wanna do that 4 times total for each puff stitch. So I'm gonna yarn over, go underneath, pull up a loop. Now there's 5 on, that was number 2. Let's do number 3, yarn over, go in, pull up a loop, that's 3. One more time, yarn over, go underneath, pull up a loop, and now there are 9 stitches on there. I'm gonna yarn over and pull through all 3. Sometimes you kind of have to jiggle. And I'm gonna chain 1 to lock it in place. And in the next stitch, I'm going to slip stitch. And I just repeat that process. You do a puff stitch. This puff stitch is backwards. I'm gonna push that the other way. I'm gonna like puff him out the other way. There we go. Okay, so I have 1 puff stitch and then a chain and a slip stitch. Puff stitch, chain, slip stitch until you have 8 puffs. So I've got 8 puff stitches in my little beard. I've just chained to hold this one in place. And in the very last stitch here, the last chain, I'm just going to slip stitch. So there's the beard itself. I'm gonna just cut this. When I cut it, you do not need to leave a long tail because we're gonna be gluing it on, not sewing it on. So I'm gonna just finish off by pulling this through. I like to tie these 2 ends together so I know nothing's going to unravel. And I'm gonna weave in my ends and then get ready to attach it to the hat. So to attach my little beard to the hat, I find it easiest to put the hat on the mug so that you can see exactly where things are at. I've got my hot glue gun heated up. I'm just gonna test out where I think I wanna put it. And I like it like this. You gotta put it a little bit above the bottom so it's not dragging on the ground when he's standing upright like this. So you get it so the hat's right above his eyes, and I'm gonna kind of eyeball it. And it wants to curl on itself. So I want it to look like this. So I'm just gonna put a little bit of glue right over here. I get my glue gun to spit some out, okay? And I'm going to push it on and I'm gonna hold it in place till it cools. Okay, so once one side is attached, you just wanna reposition, make sure you've got it where you want it. I want it right about there. So I'm just gonna come over here. I want it here, and I'm just gonna stick it on and wait for it to cool while I hold it. So the last thing to do for this hat is to glue on the stars. And I just like to put them on, see if I like where they're at, see the look of them, move them around, and then just use my hot glue to attach. The watermelon hat is actually, it starts quite similarly to the Uncle Sam hat in that you start with a magic circle and then you're going to increase, you're going to add stitches in the different rows. In row 4, you'll get to 34 stitches around. And then for rows 5, 6, and 7, you just do 1 stitch in each stitch around. So 32 stitches in each row. And I am up to, I wanted to point out that in row 8, you're going to switch to the color white. And instead of doing half double crochets, which is what we've been working up here, you're going to do just a single crochet in this row, just because we want it to be kind of thin. I did want to point out that the watermelon hat is made with a G 4mm hook. So I'm on my last stitch of this row. I'm just going to change the color just like we did for the last hat. So I have my 3 loops on for my half double crochet, and I'm going to finish off with the white. I'm going to pull the white through. I'm going to slip stitch and chain 1, tighten up my stitch a little bit, and you can cut off the red. So I chained 1, and now I'm just going to do a single crochet in each stitch around. So I'm just going to go under the loops. I'm going to pull up a loop. Now there's just 2 loops on, yarn over, pull through. That's a single crochet. So under the loops, pull up a loop, 2 loops on, yarn over, pull through. And you're just going to do 1 row of white as single crochets, and then we're going to switch to green. So I'm back around to the start. I have 1 more single crochet in this row, but instead of finishing off with the white, I am going to finish off with my jelly bean color, my green. Finish off like that. I'm going to slip stitch to my first stitch. I'm going to chain 1, and now this next row is also going to be single crochets. So the exact same thing we just did, only in jelly bean. And I'm just going to go all the way around. I'm going to cut off my white because it drives me nuts to have this much stuff hanging off the back. All right, I finished that row and I slip stitch to the first stitch. I'm going to chain 1, and this next row we're back to just 1 half double crochet in each stitch around. So another 32 just half double crochets like you did at the start of the hat in the red portion, all the way around. And then for the very last row, all you have to do is slip stitch. So let me show you what it'll look like. That's not this row, but you would just go under the loops, pick up a loop, pull through, and then pull through the loop on your hook. And you're just going to do that in each stitch around to finish the hat. So once you get the base of the hat done, it looks like this. I have woven in all of my ends, and all that's left to do is put on my watermelon seeds. This is the packaging that my beads came in. These are from Hobby Lobby. They are these 6mm, I can't remember what the Bicone, I think they're called, black beads. And I just wanted to say that when you get started doing this, you're going to want to use the tiniest amount of glue on the side of these. So I want to glue on the sides, not the side with the holes. I don't want to see the holes, so I'm going to put glue on the sides. I'm going to hold the holes kind of between my fingers, and I'm just going to barely apply any glue and then stick it on. Because if you apply any more than that, you end up with hot glue snot underneath. You can see it, and it's not pretty.
Now you've got mugs all ready for July and the summer heat. If you're making mug hats to give away, keep crocheting along with me so you have a full set at the end of the year. You can get all of the free mug hat patterns and tutorials on my website. There'll be a link in the description box down below. Happy crafting!